Oh my Lanta, the Denver Broncos are the dark horse candidate and now becoming the favorite to land the premier wide receiver whose name has been talked about through NFL free agency and the trade deadline and all of that. So what if instead of debating whether or not we get a wide receiver who might be washed up like Debo or Cooper Kupp, what if we got the premier wide receiver in the entire class? And it looks like that might actually happen. And why would he even think about the Denver Broncos? Well, we have a lot of hype about this team. We have Kay Adams saying we could repeat what the Eagles do. We have advanced analytics that show that the Denver Broncos are truly just a couple pieces away from being deep Super Bowl contenders. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben in the happiest place on earth. Of course, the Orlando airport on my way home. Typically, I'm in my Denver Broncos man cave, but this will have to do. If you love the Denver Broncos as much as I do, will you smash that like and subscribe button, and let's dive in. So I think the first amazing piece of news is Kay Adams gets the best sound bites out of Sean Payton. She was up on this team way before anyone else was. She actually was one of the only mainstream media reporters who went to Denver Broncos training camp and did amazing pieces on how good Pat Surtain is, how good Cortland Sutton is, and how she knew Sean Payton was going to win more than 7 games. Well, she came out in her latest show and said, you know what, if of all the teams who could build a stud offensive line, who could build the interior of their team to dominate the NFL playoffs, it's actually the Denver Broncos. So this isn't just me with my orange and blue glasses saying the Broncos are going to be good. This is like a true premier reporter in Kay Adams saying that exact same thing. We have the formula in place to repeat what the Philadelphia Eagles did, and we all know how that ended. It ended with a ticker tape parade in downtown Philly. So are we going to have one of those in Denver soon? That's what we're all Bo-LIEVing and aiming for. So why might that even be? Like, why could we build our line like that? Well, we've already got a ton of the pieces. So PFF and the 33rd team came out and they ranked who are the best tackles when it comes to the fewest numbers of pressures that they allowed. And it is incredible that when you look at the top 10 tackles, you'd be happy if you just had one of them, but the Denver Broncos are doing 2 of them. So not only is Garrett Bowles keeping Bo Nix's blind side clean on the left side, on the right side, you got Mike McGlinchey, who has totally broken away from that moniker of Mike McFlinchy and is playing as dominantly as we'd hoped he is. And so you have number 5 and number 10. That's amazing because there's, you're talking 64 tackles in the league, and so to have 2 of them in the top 10 is wild. And that's how you build exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles do. You have a stud offensive line. We already know we have the best offensive guard in football in Quinn Meinerz, and so if you're taking a look at our offensive linemen, you have 3 of them who are just absolute standouts at their position, and that is how we repeat what exactly the Philadelphia Eagles do. So what else do we have that could make us repeat what the Philadelphia Eagles do? We have Vance Joseph being one of the highest rated defensive coordinators in the entire game. It is absolutely criminal that he did not have a single interview, like he didn't get a head job offered to him, and it almost seemed as if he was more of like a Rooney Rule exception why he was even given interviews. I think there is no way we keep Vance Joseph for yet another year. I'm thrilled to death that we get him for 1 more year. Can't wait to see him continue to build that system here in Denver. But seeing that you have Vance Joseph above Aaron Glenn, who just got a head coaching job, above a lot of these guys who are head coaches who are also defensive coordinators, and just seeing that he is behind, the only person he's behind, we remember him, Uncle Grumpy Vic Fangio, who just beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. So I think you look, we have a stud offensive line. We have one of the best defensive play callers. We have all of our picks in this year's upcoming draft. We have an extra pick for trading Baron Browning. We're going to get compensatory picks probably when either Stidham or Zach Wilson leaves. Like, the future is wildly bright. So then into what I teased at the start of this video. If you take a look at the DraftKings odds for where Tee Higgins ends up this year, your Denver Broncos are the polling position. We are the number 1 highest betted team, or have the best odds to land Tee Higgins with the Denver Broncos next year at a 3-to-1 rate. So that is just absolutely phenomenal news. I just go back to the end of that overtime game against the Cincinnati Bengals when you had Bo Nix covering his mouth with Tee Higgins at the end of that game. Those guys have 0 connection to each other. Why else might he be doing this? Like, he's talking to him and saying, next year I'm going to be throwing all those jump balls to you. Thinking of what Tee Higgins would do for this Denver Broncos offense makes me like wildly excited here. Just he has this ability to go up and get it, and unlike Cortland Sutton, he's more than just a possession receiver. He also is incredible with yards after the catch. It would just be the absolute sickest move for the Denver Broncos to end up landing the Cinderella of this ball. That here he is breaking breaking tackles. When is the last time we saw a Denver Broncos receiver with that receiving ability, but also able to break tackles like he does? I just think it could be a match made in heaven and just an incredible thing. So it's a lot is going to depend on what is the asking price for Tee Higgins, but like how insanely hyped would you be if we are pairing Bo Nix with Tee Higgins? It's just like a plethora of riches. And then you're talking about this draft is all about, okay, go find your joker because we have receiver absolutely locked down. Thinking of what Tee Higgins does for the rest of that receiving room as well, and the development that you would see out of a Marvin Mims and out of a Troy Franklin, knowing that they're learning from Courtland Sutton, and Tee Higgins is wild, and you don't have to trade for him, right? It is going to be a deal, and we know that we have a very cash-rich owner, and so they can offer a big deal in a way that it does not hit our cap as much as others, and I think that would just be absolutely exciting. Other exciting thing here is just thinking about just how done the Kansas City Chiefs are, and knowing they have been our biggest impediment to making the playoffs, and they've had our number for a number of years up until Sean got here. And we know that a bulk of their salary cap is in those 5 guys that we talked about in yesterday's video, and one of them is Travis Kelce. And just seeing here how given up on the play and given up on the season he was here when it really mattered, and seeing when his quarterback needed him to step up and make a play, I just absolutely loved. Watch Travis Kelce. He pops into view here in a second. So you got Mahomes dancing around, flag on the play. But look at just Travis Kelce at the bottom of your screen right here, just sitting around waiting, just like I am at the airport for my plane. And if you want a sign that the Kansas City Chiefs are done, you were eating up a huge part of your salary cap for that guy to just stand there, and it really couldn't be happening to a better team. So let me know, what are you thinking? We got the future being insanely bright. Tee Higgins coming to Denver, would that get you wildly hyped? Other thing to dive into is the odds on the Broncos actually ending up with Cooper Kupp are also very high. So Vegas is betting on the Denver Broncos making a run at one of these receivers, whether it's Kupp, Debo Samuel, or Tee Higgins. Which of those guys do you think would be most exciting? Obviously, I think Tee Higgins is the most exciting, but that's also going to cost the most. If we end up getting Cooper Kupp, there are a lot of talks that the Rams would end up eating a lot of his cap chunk, and so having a guy like Cooper Kupp developmentally for our young receivers, it would almost be like the year we had Wes Welker here to kind of end his career in Denver, and the amount of knowledge that rubbed off on Sanders and a young, I think DT was on the team at that time. It was just, a huge value add, not only on the field, but then also for our young receivers kind of learning how to do it right. So let me know what you think. Which of those would make you most excited? And Broncos country, we've got so much to Bo-LIEVE in. I nailed the shot, even at Orlando Airport. Let's go.